be away from all people and people of the world and all worldly luxuries, so that they could focus on the task at hand, and they could focus on their remembrance of Allah Almighty. But in no way is this a necessity. Also, some people tend to think that you have to remain silent and you cannot speak to anyone during the i'tikaf. This is not the case. Alhamdulillah, it is good to remain silent to avoid misuse of the tongue, to refrain from misuse of the tongue is a requirement, and especially when you're in the masjid, we should be more careful about what we say. Even speech that does not give benefit, that is not beneficial in any way, such speech should be avoided within the masjid. But in no way is it a necessity to have to be silent, thinking that this is an act of worship or a necessity of i'tikaf. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Dear Islamic brothers and viewers of Madani channel, the whole purpose of i'tikaf is to refrain from sinful actions and to devote days and nights to the worship of Allah Almighty. For many, it is an opportunity to turn away from inclination to this world and reflect, think about the afterlife, gain that inspiration to become more practicing believers. Now, if after i'tikaf an individual is still not able to refrain from sinful actions, then he truly is deprived, and the seriousness of his offences naturally it's increased, because if he was performing sinful actions before the i'tikaf, now he is in this sacred area and he has entered an act of worship. Well, he has made himself free to worship Allah Almighty in the best of places, the house of Allah Almighty. And now, even after being in this sacred area, if the believer disobeys Allah, he is backbiting, he is slandering or misusing his tongue in any way, or he is guilty of other sinful actions, then he is truly deprived. To understand how being in the masjid can affect the situation, I would just like to remind everyone that about what the ulama have said, that even speech which is mubah, which does not have for which there is no benefit or no loss in uttering such words, but even mubah kalam, speech that is not neither necessary, neither beneficial, nor a cause of any sort of loss, such speech, it is said that it consumes good deeds the way fire consumes wood. So we must be very careful about what we say in the masjid and how we behave in the masjid. And alhamdulillah, those who have been honored and privileged with performing the i'tikaf, and especially the brothers who have performed the i'tikaf in the environment of Dawat-e-Islami, they have gained many blessings and they continue to do so. I would like to share with you an account of a brother. The nature of his account is such that many can relate to the transformation which took place in his life and how he changed. A brother from Muzaffargarh in Pakistan, he reveals how he used to be like any other youth. He was not inclined to Islam. He had no devotion for Islam. He was always quarreling and fighting with family members. At times he was even thrown out of the house, and he would for a couple of days he would be here and there outside, and then he would make some arrangements and come back home. So this was typical of his lifestyle. And another thing which he mentioned was that he would not go to sleep until he listened to 2 or 3 cassettes of music. So you can just imagine the kind of lifestyle he was living. Unfortunately, we see a lot of this in this day and age. I mean, you might even be sitting at home and someone is driving past and he's really blasting music, and to such an extent that even the windows of the house, and you can feel the vibrations through the walls. I mean, this is the reality that we're facing. Unfortunately, many of our Muslim brothers have completely turned away from the way of Islam. Not only that, there is no consideration anymore. That consideration is not seen anymore. The fact that I am doing something wrong, so why not I should keep it to myself, and the effects of my sin should not reach others. It is not like that anymore. Unfortunately, we are seeing Muslims who they make the mistake of they disobey Allah Almighty, but they're not ashamed of it, and not only that, they publicly announce the disobedience by doing such things. And how many times it may have been seen by many of us that we're on the street or we're at home and we can hear, or we're affected by what people, unfortunately, what some people may do. So going back to this brother, he said that he was living this lifestyle, and he was invited. One of his cousins was a responsible brother in Dawat-e-Islami. He had a responsibility, and then he was invited to perform the i'tikaf for the last 10 days of Ramadan. So he was convinced to do so. So he joined the brothers of Dawat-e-Islami with in this i'tikaf. And as mentioned previously, as mentioned before, the unique environment created by Dawat-e-Islami, and that love and devotion, and that the sincerity and the manner in which the brothers perform the dua, supplications. He was obviously witnessing everything and being affected by it. In particular, he mentions that a brother from we say Babul Medina, Karachi, came, and this brother delivered a speech as well, and he was affected by the dua on the 27th night in particular. So he decided to change his life, and that changed him. That almost confirmed the changes for him and made him strong in his new phase of life. So after the i'tikaf, on the second day of Eid, he says that I was sleeping, and in my dream I saw an elderly man. He had a saintly figure. He looked like a holy man, a pious man, and this individual called out my name and said, why are you not up for Fajr? So although there was still time for the Fajr prayer, the congregational prayer, he said, I responded in such a way that I tied my hands while I was sleeping, and when I woke up my hands were in the same position. So he said, I got up and I made my way to the masjid, and I performed my Salatul Fajr with the congregation, with the Jamaat, and alhamdulillah, after that he enrolled in Jami'atul Madina for the Alim course, for the Dawat-e-Islami course. And many of you may know, some of you may not know, alhamdulillah, in Dawat-e-Islami we have our code of conduct, a gift given to the Ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the form of a gift from our honorable Shaykh, which is referred to as the Madani in Amat. the questionnaire that is filled in, that's a form of reflection. So for